How in the hell does a 13-year-old girl show up at Radio City Music Hall on September the 7th, 2000 for the Video Music Awards, let alone the after party? According to the complaint, the civil suit, she asked the friend who drove her there and dropped her off. Now, Art, I have a 13-year-old daughter. I have a 13-year-old daughter. Help me understand how anybody's 13-year-old daughter has a friend who's driving who can pick them up without their parents' permission, drive them to Radio City Music Hall for the VMAs. That's the first thing. That's the psychologist in me. That's the educator in me. That's the child advocate in me. How does a 13-year-old know anybody that they can call to pick them up and drop them off at the VMAs? So soon when I saw that, I said something interesting is going on here. So as I read the civil suit paperwork further, I see that she didn't have a ticket to get in, nor should she have, because she was only 13 years old. So she says she stays outside the VMAs. She watches the VMAs on a Jumbotron. She says she goes over to the limousine row where the limousine drivers are parked, and she runs into one of the drivers for Puff's entourage or so forth. And he tells her that if you stay here or meet me back here after the award show, I have to drop off Puff. I got to drop off his entourage, some other celebrities. And when I'm done dropping them off, I'm going to come back and pick you up. According to the civil suit, the limousine driver told the 13-year-old that Puff likes young girls and you fit the description of the type of young girl that he likes. So I'm going to come back and pick you up. So he comes back, he gets her. He takes her to the after party, wherever that was, and it's not clear whether that was at Puff House or some other location. So she gets into the after party. She sees all these celebrities. They doing drugs, they getting high, being sexually promiscuous, whatever the case may be. She says they give her, Art, what she believes at that time to have been a non-disclosure agreement. So another red flag goes up for me, because I'm saying to myself, if you're only 13 years old, how can they give you an NDA? In other words, did you misrepresent yourself as being older than what you really are? Because, Art, everybody knows a minor cannot sign consent for themselves. A minor cannot sign consent for themselves. So if someone in that party gave this 13-year-old child a non-disclosure agreement, that means they were under the assumption that you were an adult and you did not make it clear to them that you were only a child. You didn't make it clear to the limo driver that you were only a child. And also, going back to the limo driver, Art, if he tells you that Puffy is into young girls, you look young, you're the type of girl he would want, doesn't that kind of signal to you that if he's coming back to pick you up, he's not taking you to meet Puff for a music deal. He ain't taking you to meet Puff for an audition. He ain't taking you to meet Puff so you can sing cameo on one of his artist's upcoming songs. He's taking you to see Puff for some kind of sexual activity. He sized you up physically and said you the type of girls he likes. And he wants to take you to the after party. What else can he be talking about, Art, other than some sex? So let's go further. She gets to the after party. She says that there's waitresses walking around giving out drinks. She takes one of the drinks and she starts drinking it. She starts to feel woozy, lightheaded. She gets tired. So she decides to stumble to a room, a vacant room at the party. I'm assuming the party is in a home. She stumbles to the vacant room, Art, and she lays down because she's woozy, and that makes sense. You had something to drink. They said Puffy be spiking his drinks, true or false. That's what's out there, so I can understand that. But here's what I don't understand, Puff. I don't think a 13-year-old girl, or any woman for that point, And of course, we're talking about a minor. If you're in a party and you see all these celebrities and they doing drugs and getting high and being sexually promiscuous, if you feeling lightheaded and woozy, why not sit down in the main party area? Why not sit down in the living room or the dance area? Because as you know, Art, there's chairs everywhere at a nightclub. There's chairs everywhere at a home. So why didn't you stay within view of the attendees? Why did you wander down some narrow hallway into an empty room and lay in a room by yourself and you 13 years old? She didn't say somebody led her to the room. She didn't say they asked her to go to the room. From what I read, on her own, she ends up in this room. She lays down. Shortly thereafter, Sean Combs and Sean Carter enters the room together with a mysterious celebrity B, who is alleged to be a female. So then I'm saying to myself, if Sean Combs and Sean Carter are about to sexually assault an underage female, why would you bring a spectator in to witness your crime? Now, it might not be beyond the realm of possibilities because in that lifestyle, as you and I know, they do a lot of crazy stuff. So maybe they brought celebrity B in there, hoping she would join in on the menage a trois, join in on the orgy, maybe engage in some same-sex activity. Who knows what they had on their mind? But on the surface, Art, I'm looking at these two men. And even though we're talking about a crime that happened 24 years ago, they were still at the top of their game. Jay-Z done already had In My Lifetime Volume 2 that went like 5-6 times platinum. You know what I mean? He was about to drop the blueprint if he hadn't already. You know, Biggie done already joined the ancestors. Mace done already blew up. Puffy is at the top of his game. So they were still the kings of New York 24 years ago. They were still the kings of hip hop 24 years ago. So if you are Jay-Z and Sean Carter, Jay-Z and Sean Combs, Sean Carter and Sean Combs, why would you risk a witness partaking in you sexually assaulting a child? Why bring the witness into the room? I just thought that was a little odd. So anyway, she says Sean Carter up, and then Sean Combs proceeded to SA her as well, assault her. And then after he SA'd her, he tried to force her to engage in oral sex. She began punching, fighting. She hit him on the neck. Sean Combs backs off. She says she somehow stumbles out of the room, gets her clothes, gets dressed, gets outside. She runs to a gas station. She ends up at the gas station. The gas attendant could clearly see that she's perturbed, she's distraught, she's bewildered, she's traumatized. The gas attendant allows her to use the telephone. She calls her father. Now, this is important, Art, because now you're implicating your father. You're implicating someone else in this now. She says she called her father. The father comes and picks her up. She admits that she tells her father that she lied to get down to Radio City Music Hall to attend the Video Music Awards and or the after party. Now, let me stop right there. If the father is still alive, rest in peace if he is not. If the father is still alive, Art, he's going to be subpoenaed to take the stand. He's going to have to testify. What did your daughter say when she called you? Did she call you? What did you say to her? How did you respond? How long did it take you to get to the gas station to pick her up? And the bigger questions are, the bigger question for the father, why didn't you drive your daughter to a hospital or to the police precinct to make a report? Why did you all go home? Did you take her to the police precinct for a police report, criminal complaint on the two most popular men in the hip hop industry? Or did you take her to a hospital to make sure she was safe, that she hadn't been harmed or hurt, broken bones, STDs, whatever the case may be, a rape hit? And if he took her daughter home, Art, I believe that's going to seriously undermine their argument, because what black father you know, you, me, or the brother down the street. If our daughter tells us she was assaulted and we go pick her up and we can tell she not right, we doing one of three things. We going to the police, we going to the hospital, or we going back to the after party and we about to turn it out. Do you feel